Hello again with another example related to motion in one dimension vertically. I have a stone is launched straight up into the air, so it's going upward. 14 seconds later, the stone returns back to the ground where it's been launched. Now, I'm asking for what is the initial speed of the stone and then what is the maximum height the stone attained. So as I mentioned in my previous video, it will be a good idea if we can sketch the scenario. So this is my stone. It's been launched upward, reaching a maximum height. Okay, and it returned back to the original point after 14 seconds. Now, let's look carefully of what information we have in this example. Now, definitely we know that the gravity acceleration is a negative 9.8 meter per second square. Now, we definitely don't know how much is the initial velocity. That's what actually part one of the question looking for. But I know that the total time, T total, for the entire trip for this stone from reaching from the ground to the maximum height and coming back is 14 seconds. And I did mention that in one of my previous examples that the time needed from the ground to the maximum height is half of the total time in air, which means to get T to the maximum height, it will be 7 seconds. And we know also from our knowledge that the final velocity or the velocity at the maximum height equal always 0. All right, so we managed to establish good understanding and sketching some information related to our example. And let's see if we can solve the problem now. Now, what is the initial speed of the stone? I don't know how much is the V naught, but I do know that the time required to reach the maximum height is 7 seconds. I know the gravity acceleration, and I know that at the maximum height, the velocity will be 0. So I will focus on that part of the trip, just going from the ground to the maximum height. And from what we know about the kinematic equation, I will pick this one. The V final equal initial plus gravity T. This is 0. This is the unknown. And minus 9.8. And here is 7 seconds. To find the initial velocity, simply I'm doing that on the calculator, 9.8. That should give me 68.6 meter per second. And it's definitely positive because it's going upward. Okay, so that's part one of the question being solved. Now, let's go to the second part. What is the maximum height the stone attained? Now, the good thing with this equation now, or this part, that I do have more information by solving the initial speed. So I can solve it in two different ways. So I'll pick the easy one maybe for some, and I'll say, all right, it's the final velocity squared, initial squared, g, and it's the height. Now, once again, I know that to reach the maximum height, the velocity final will be 0. Now here I know how much is this one. It's 68.6, and it's squared, minus, I'll put it now, for the gravity acceleration, which is 9.8, and the maximum height, which we don't know. This is the unknown. Just by rearranging the formula and doing that through the calculator. Let's work it out. That will give me 240.1 meter. So we can say it's 240 meter. That's one of the way to solve how high this object or the stone managed to reach. The other way I could do it, I can say or for this part, for 2 again. I'll change maybe the color to say I could choose that y or delta y equal the initial velocity t plus half gt squared, because I do know how much is the time required to reach the maximum height. I have the gravity acceleration and I managed to calculate the initial velocity. So this will take us to 68.67. Here is half the gravity acceleration and multiplied by, again, the time 7 squared. If we do the calculation, that should give me exactly the same value, 240.1 meter. That's another way to approach the same question because we do have more information being found or given to solve it. Okay, I hope you find this example useful, and we'll see you again with another one. Thank you.